single responsibility and command design pattern. If you see, single responsibility means every class should have single reason to change. I have a printer class, then all the functions in the printer, all the data structures in the printer, okay, they would change in a way that they will have single reason to change. So all the methods should belong to printing only. All the attributes should keep the value as per the printing only. So if we make change in one attribute or combination of all the attributes, it would lead in a single direction. So there should be single reason for all the attributes to change, and methods would also would be kind of cohesive in a way operations that it would give a direction for the single change. Okay, so this is single responsive printer. Now in a printer class, I have two area. One is it does the printing, and other is it takes the document. Okay, so you say that send a document, then you can pass your document, and then you call print, send a document and print. So you think that since printer receives the document and printer prints it, so both are the actual job of the printing, but it's not. Internally, there are two reasons to change. Printing is now here comes as orthogonal component. So printing has nothing to do with receiving the document. Receiving document is completely different arena, and printing the document is completely different technology. So they have nothing to do. So receiving document can be SMS, or can be kind of through Bluetooth or through SMS or through email. It can receive the document, and formatting, and printing is completely different, and there are separate technology for the printing. Now if we do any modification in the printing, then unnecessarily we have methods for the receiving the documents of. If I do any addition or modification in receiving the document to the printer, sending the document to the printer, unnecessary, we have function for the printing. So printer has two reasons to change printer class. One is for printing, and one is for sending the document, receiving the document. So there are two areas which are orthogonal to each other, and they are lying in the printer class. So single responsibility means one class must one particular class have single responsibility to change. Now we have two reasons to change. If anything that happens in the communication area, then also printer class would change, because both area lies in the same class. If something modification happens or addition happens in the printing area, then also it will change. So two area it will change. So it should not be like. So single responsibility in the solid design principle, a class have single reason to change. We have two reason to change the class. So we will put into two different classes. Okay, or we can have a kind of a printer class which is interface, and two classes that will derive from the printer. One is print and one is communication module. Communication. So printer has two subclasses, print and communicate. Okay. So and it will have a function called execute. Execute is a virtual function that will be kind of implemented by communicate and print both. So now I have communicate object, and through that if I say execute, then I'll pass whatever the parameter I need to pass. Okay. Or I can set its attribute and I can say execute. Similarly, for the print print class object, I can just say execute and it would print. Okay. Now, so printer class, it has two classes now, print and communicate. So through communicate, we send all the data to the printer, and through print class, we fire the printer. Both are independent. We can send as many data as possible, as far as it is not filling the buffer of the printer. Whereas print, if you fire the print, it would print whatever is available in the buffer. Both are independent to each other. Now we are talking about solid design principle and design pattern. So command design pattern. So command design pattern, where we kind of give the function function as a status of a class. So earlier the print class has two functions, communicate, printer class has two functions, communicate and print. Now knowingly, unknowingly, these became execute and they came in two derived classes as communicate and print. Okay, and they come as function as execute. If it is like this, then we are giving function as class status unknowingly that we did not know. So communicate function became communicate class. Print function became print class. The functions that printer class was carrying, communicate and print, they become two classes, derived classes. Okay, and they now they are implementing or realizing same virtual method as called execute. Okay, but print execute would print it, whereas communicate execute would take the documents. This is command design pattern. The functions we gave as class status. If that is true, then we have instantiation of communicate and print as many times as 1000 instantiation. And all we can put in a list. All objects we can put in list. And now all objects we can just iterate in a for loop and say execute, 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 execute. If that is true, then wherever there is a series of communicate module, it will printer would take all the documents what we are sending, and when there is a series of print or one print, it will keep printing it. So all the communication and printing, every object since they are realizing the interface printer, so we have a list of printer pointer. Okay, so print class and communicate class derived from printer pointer. Printer is an interface now, which has a virtual method execute that is realized by print and communicate subclass. So now I have a list of printer pointer. Against this list, I push communicate and print class objects in a list. Now I just receive list from anywhere full of the data and just say in a for loop execute. So it will start sending the document to the printer, whatever it is there, calling execute. Whenever print object comes and it calls execute, it prints it. So we have a scheduler rather than making printer. Can we think that how much dollars we are saving every time? Now printer we can do a kind of a spool kind of job. Okay, we can do pooling kind of job. Rather than making printer work every time, we can have like people can send printout. In a printout would be provided every 1 hour. So in 1 hour, people are sending printout, and all printouts are saved in a queue. So their documents and print, documents print, all objects now it will come in a big queue. At the end of 1 hour, the administrator would just fire the for loop. So inside the for loop, it will be execute, execute, execute. So whenever communicate execute will happen, it will send the data to the printer. So keep sending, keep sending. When print execute will come, it will print. Then again for other person who has sent for the printout, and in 5 minutes printer is done with the all the job. Printer is now idle for 1 hour. Saving of electricity, saving of the machine. Rather than one for 1 hour, it is keep printing and idle printing idle. So in a kind of a bunch, okay, kind of job that we can do in a one go, or in a pool kind of, we make a kind of a scheduler in this fashion. So, in a kind of in a bulk manner, rather I would say. So, in a bulk manner, we can do the printout. So, all people they are sitting in a team. They would send them for printout, and at a particular time when those they know that printout would be ready, they can go and collect. whereas administrator would have gone for tea and coffee, and it would come at that time, it will just execute a for loop, and against all requests are in objects now, and objects execute, it will execute, pushing document to the printer, and print, push document to the printer, print. And solid design principle and design patterns. If we mix, then it is amazing. How nice it is. Means you make single responsibility through interface, and now you through that you make the functions as class status, and class they conform to single interface, and we have list of interface pointer, and then against list, inside the list we have objects of the new single responsibility classes. They are realizing same interface, and then just call execute, 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 and work would happen in a kind of batch manner. So it is intelligent. Means it saves everything. Human brain to electricity to administrator salary to power everything. So let's be in a kind of batch mode.